Yeah, so a lot of parents are struggling with the whole cell phone in bed issue.
Yes.
Do you have any specific advice for parents who are struggling with the kid gets so attached to that they want to sleep with it, and that can be really dangerous depending on the kid.
Well, we have talked about this, as I would say, from time immemorial, ever since we had televisions in bedrooms, and then we had computer laptops, and now, of course, iPhones and Samsungs. Um, it is impossible to use the word sleep and device in the same sentence. You can either do
Hmm.
one or the other.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bedroom is a place to sleep. So the concern we have and what parents should say is, I'm concerned that when you have your device in your room, it is going to either keep you from sleeping or interrupt your sleep. We have great research that shows that 70% of youngsters that have their cell phones wake up at least once a night to check their phone, or they'll get a text that will light up the room and they'll wake
Hmm.
up. So, in order to get good sleep, we would like you to have a good sleep environment. In other words, if you said to a baseball player, while you're at bat, waiting for the next pitch, why don't you take out your phone and check to see if you have a text? That might take their attention away from batting the ball into the outfield. So we're going to have a good sleep environment. And in order to have that, we have to minimize distractions, the same way we would not ask them if they're doing a test to take out their phone and check to see if they have a message. So I think parents have to be
Hmm.
empathetic. They have to be, shall we say, curious. What are you using your phone for in bed?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
let's use it before you go to bed, and then have a moratorium, because we know that the light from the phones bleaches out your melatonin and doesn't allow you to get as sleepy. So eventually kids will go to sleep, but it'll be 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. And that is not conducive to being awake, alert, and present for, shall we say, a learning environment.
Absolutely, and those are important challenges to set before them. So, Dr. Don, we've got a few minutes left. Why don't we start to wrap things up? And I was just wondering if
Sure.
there's anything in particular that you want to say directly to students, to kids of different ages, to help them manage all this. We talked a little bit about parents and having them be a part of the process. Are there things that kids in particular, you work with kids all the time. What are some tips and tricks and some suggestions you'd give them directly?
Well, the first thing I would say to all the children and the teenagers and the teenagers is that I have great empathy for what you're going through.
Hmm.
This is not easy. And I realize you love your family, but being cocooned with your family for the last 6 to 8 months is a, shall we say, challenging environment.
To say
So
the
that's
least.
the second thing is that I know you have to be online and you have to be on your screen, because that's how you create and communicate and congregate. And I might add, based on how many times the Amazon truck goes up and down my street, consume. But I want you to think about one thing. I want you to think about what it means in the 21st century to be a good digital citizen. You are using a tool, much like a car, where you have to get a learner's permit. You have to demonstrate that you can responsibly drive this vehicle because it is dangerous. And I'm not equating your mobile device with a car, but it's a fairly easy, shall we say, jump in terms of responsibility. You have a responsibility to use this tool with respect, and you have a responsibility to realize what the negative parts of the tool are versus the positive parts. So again, if you're not getting the value that you want out of that tool, respect, tolerance, empathy, kindness, if you're using it to bully, if you're using it to cheat, if you're using it to invade someone's privacy, I would ask you to reconsider that. Look in the mirror and say, what kind of a digital citizen am I? Am I leaving a good digital footprint out there? Okay. And for parents and kids both, I think the big skill for the 21st century is going to be media literacy. In other words, how do we interpret what we see online as, shall we say, truthful? What's
Hmm.
the veracity of what we see online? That's the big skill. when we access something, can we critically analyze it? Can we evaluate it? How do we do that? And then how do we create something around what we've just analyzed and evaluated that allows us to create something and then act on that? Because as you know, we're seeing lots of things in our political climate now, which may or may not be exactly truthful. And we hear them. And remember, the more you hear something, the more truthful sometimes it gets. So
That's right.
we're going to ask all of our students and all of our parents to discuss things that they find online as true or not so true, and why. Who is the audience for this particular piece of information that we have now, shall we say, located? Is it meant to convince us of something that perhaps we shouldn't be convinced of? So again, I think that that's the message I would have for both parents and kids, but mostly for children, and certainly not for the 5-year-olds who are using media to learn to read. And I would ask parents to learn, have a online reading. You can read online with your child, or you can read out loud, even to older kids up to 5th, 6th grade.
Sure.
It's a great skill. And it also, again, breaks up that day in terms of screen time, the same way with activities and exercise, not just meals.
Well, I agree 100%. We need to help kids and parents be critical thinkers when it comes to all the sources, and go back to what you said about all media have embedded values. That's really important to, it's part of becoming a good digital citizen, all those great media literacy skills. So thanks for coming back to the end to that good media literacy language. I really appreciate it. Well, Father Don, I really appreciate your time tonight. And in the midst of all this, I think that education and conversation can be a great tool to help us make it through. So thanks again for your time.
Okay, I just had one final message, actually two. First message
Sure.
is I want to thank all the parents again for their concern about this media impact, and urge them to stay calm and curious and connected. And I want to just again, last but not least, reinforce my thought of parents tasked with navigating their family ship through very rough and often uncharted waters. Don't be too frustrated or disillusioned when you can't banish all the fear and uncertainty you have. And please be gentle with yourself, especially with yourself, because again, anxiety and self-care are very much at odds sometimes. And we all have more emotional needs than we have resources. Do what you reasonably can do, but practice some self-compassion. Try to find what brings you and your family comfort and stability, and stay hopeful. Stay hopeful. This is going to turn out to be a marathon, not a sprint. Okay. And my last message is, here's a Band-Aid. Please remember to get your flu shot.
I got my shot. I'm good.
Me too.
That's great. Excellent. Very good practical advice. Well, thanks again for your time. And if anybody's got any questions, they can reach myself, Action for Media Education, our website, or send me an email. Thank you so much again for your time. Take care.
Always a pleasure, and good luck to everyone. Take care.
Thanks. Okay. Bye.